Hi, this is PD at BurgZerg Arcade at BurgZergArcade.com, and this is tutorial 218. Alright, so we left off, we finally got our vitals up and working. And in this tutorial we're going to do the exact same thing, but work on our stats. So when we start play, I'm loaded right directly into my tutorial scene. We have the attributes. I want the exact same thing for all of my skills right now. So let's go ahead and implement that. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my Mono Develop, and I'm going to head into the game settings too, and I'm just going to shrink some of this stuff down as I don't need to look at it. And let's see, we'll just go down to where we're loading our skills. So here we are with the attributes. Here's where we're loading all of our attributes. I'm actually going to cut and paste that because I know I'm going to need that for loading up of our skills. And right here, so we're saving a skill, so we're being passed in a skill name and an actual skill. And down here is where we're just loading one skill. I'm going to leave that one alone. And here's where we save all of our skills. And right here is where we're actually loading up all of our skills. And again, I originally wrote this method to pass back an array of skills because we didn't have access to a static instance of our skill or our player, but we do now. So just like before, we're going to switch this to void. I'm going to comment this out for now. Probably delete it in a second. I just want to keep it just to make sure I know where I'm going. And I'm just going to cut and paste in the one that we used for our attributes. And of course, I'm going to change attribute name to skill name. And I'm just going to go through, and of course we don't want primary attribute anymore. What we actually want is our skill. And of course CNT for our counter. We're no longer calling load attribute, we're actually calling load skill and passing in the skill name. So I'm just going to cut and paste that in right over top. I should now be able to delete this and this. So that should be it. Again, I could probably do a print statement here, but I think I'm actually just going to save some time and jump straight into my GUI. And here I am displaying our attributes and our vitals. And I'm going to put a little comment here just so I know this is the vitals part. And I'll throw another one right up here just so I know. Okay, now I'm going to come down here to displaying our skills. And I'm going to try to keep the exact same values up here. So I'll put those in, and I want the exact same begin area. Let's just actually just cut and paste this whole thing in. Just to start off with. And I'll just paste the whole thing in, and let's just go through and make the edits. Now I want it to be in the exact same spot as our other panel, so I don't see anything here changing. We only have one thing to display, and that's skill, so right away we can get rid of one. And of course, let's fix the comment, and let's just go through. So we create a counter, start it at 0, go through till we reach the length of the skills, and then increase the counter. We'll go through, create a label. None of this is going to change. The only thing that's going to change is over here we're going to have skill name, and we'll convert that to a string. And if you notice in our enumeration, our skill names have something like, for instance, melee offense. It says melee _ offense. A little later on we'll introduce how to do regular expressions, and we'll be able to parse through these skill names and remove that underscore and replace it with something like a space. Just so it's a little more aesthetically pleasing, but that's near the end of the series. So we're just going to keep going through, and of course we'll want to come through here, and instead of get primary attribute now, we're going to be getting a skill. We're still going to be passing in an index, which is CNT, And we will not get the base value. What we're going to get is the adjusted base value. Adjusted base value. We are going to do a toString because we will need it because we're not concatenating to any other string here. And I think that's pretty much all we really need to do. I'm just going to save that off and let's just go check it out. We're not getting any errors, so that's a good sign. Let's start it back up and we'll head over to skills, and here we go. Now of course they're all 0, so something's not working right there, and well, let's go find out. So I'm going to head back into MonoDevelop and I'm going to check the line first, make sure I didn't do anything wrong. And the first thing that pops into my mind is that we're actually not even calling this method to load up our skills. That would be under PC, and we'll come up here and right underneath the load vitals, that's where we'll grab our skills. And we'll just save that off. Now it should be loading them up. And we have an error. And I think what I actually wanted was the plural version. I'm just going to delete this here just to make sure. Yes. And we don't have to hit clear. We'll just start it back up. We'll head over to skills, and they're still 0. All right, so let's go ahead and try to figure out why they're still 0. So I'm going to head back into my script. And we'll head over to our game settings. And let me just quickly look to see how we're loading up our skills. So here's where we're loading them all up. We're taking a skill, loading it up, assigning it. We don't even really need this step. Let's actually take a look at how we're doing our vitals. In our vitals, we have a for loop. And again, we don't really need this part. Let me see how I'm doing it up here. Yeah, let's actually clean this up. We don't actually need to return anything because we do have that static instance of our character already for us. So instead of returning stuff, we can actually just assign it to our static instance, which is exactly what I'm doing here. So there's no point in returning. And if we come down here, that means we can actually just get rid of this and then just loop through all the different vital names and save them off. That should still work just like we had before. So I'll hit clear. We'll start it up just to make sure the vitals are still working. And as we see, they are. I'm going to take a quick look at the attributes just to make sure they're doing the exact same thing. Again, we don't need to do this. I'll save that off. We'll come up to where we're loading an attribute. And we'll just go void. And we no longer need to create a new attribute. And we don't have to return it. What we're going to do is actually just assign it to it. So I'm going to come down to where I'm saving a vital. Or sorry, loading a vital. Which is right here. And I'm just going to copy this basic syntax up here now. Which I guess I could have just changed ATT. But that's fine. We'll just go like this. And instead of get vital, it's going to be get attribute up here. And just to make sure I actually spell this right, I'm going to use IntelliSense. Get primary attribute, int name, and we wanted the base value here. And on this one, we want starting EXP. So I'll just cut and paste that in over the ATT. And I'm just going to quickly save that off. No errors, so I'll hurry up and check that out. And they're still loading. Great. And I'm actually going to use the exact same thing down here for our loading of skills. So let me just come down. Here's where we're saving a skill, we're loading a skill, saving an array of skills, and then loading up all of our skills at once. So we'll get rid of that. We'll come up here. It now returns a void. A lot of this cleanup I didn't really have planned until much later, but While I'm here, I'll just do it. And we'll say get skill. That's grabbing the base value and EXP level. I should just go cut and paste this. There we go. And after we load up a skill and list its base value and EXP level, what we're going to want to do is call that skills update, and that'll adjust the adjusted base value according to the modifiers that are assigned to it. So let's go ahead. We got that saved off. I'm going to go back into Unity and we'll try it out. It loads up. Let's take a look. And there we go. We have it. And we come over and we have those as well. Now, of course, you might want to right align these things, and you can look up the formatting for it later. Like I said, I know I'm going to be drastically changing a lot of this around. Right now, I just want the functionality of actually being able to load stuff. But there we go. That's pretty much it for this little mini-series in our tutorial. There were a couple other things I wanted to cover. One thing was in our player input script. So let me see if I can come find this. It won't be under base character, but it might be under character. Let's search for it. It's a script called player input, and I'm looking for jump. And not that one. Let's just keep going down. I currently have it set to get button up. I don't want that anymore. I actually want it to jump when the player first presses the button down. There we go. So let's go ahead, and now when I first press the button down, the player jumps. Where before it never jumped until I let go. And of course, if you hold the button down, it doesn't do multiple jumps. So that was one quick fix I wanted to add. And unfortunately, I don't have my notes beside me tonight, so I don't exactly know what other little small things I wanted to adjust. But that's fine. Let's actually keep this one short. The last few anyway have been a little bit long. Yeah, I guess that's it for this one, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. And of course, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and favorite if it's one of your favorites. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.